So the bottom, the heated plate is not like rigidly attached here. So we can actually lift this off. There's two connectors back there. Just got a Anderson connector for the heater, an RCA connector for the thermistor. And then we get down to here, and I have these two plates here. It's basically dust covers. They just snap right out. I designed these. Sometimes they don't want to pop out. There we go. And so we've got this, I just didn't feel like removing that cable. There we've got our SKR, Big Tree Tech SKR1.4. And there's our crappy Wi-Fi interface. And that is just a big MOSFET for controlling the heated plate, because my heated plate is kind of overpowered. When I was designing this, I didn't expect the heated plate output here to be able to provide enough current. So I went ahead and added that. And runs on 14 volts, which is provided by this power supply here that's been kind of modified a little bit to be quieter. And let's see here if there's anything else. Oh yeah, so the on each of these little beds here, we've got pressure sensors. And you can see as I press on it, in theory, yeah, you can kind of see there's a light that's hidden behind some of those wires back there. You can kind of see as I press on it. And so that uses some Arduino code that I wrote that basically calculates the weight across all of these, and then if the weight changes by a certain amount in a certain amount of time, it goes ahead and triggers the Z the Z stop. So that's how that works. This USB cable here is for debugging that. I have a M4 extruder here. It's printed in carbon fiber PETG just because it looks cool. This is actually printed with nylon trimmer line, and so is this part right here, this latch. Originally I had this printed with trimmer line too, but that was a bad idea because this needs to be to resist creep, and nylon is a creep, so it's strong. But this post here is made out of nylon. It's not one of my prettier prints, but my theme for this printer is black and green. So it's named Obliteron because, you know, reasons. On the top here, I've got two handles. I did not design those. I did design that center spool though, and I designed that center connector there for the 2020. I designed the smoke detector mount, and this just spins around and it goes into here, and that feeds around into the filament Renault detector into a knockoff Titan extruder. I designed this carriage here, and that goes down to this. I did not design this part. This where we can, so when doing dual filament printing, it pulls it out enough here and then lets this one squirt in. I designed the effector, and we have a piece of PETG that's holding a mosquito hot end. We have a blower here. It's not great. I think I'm going to probably redesign that at some point. One thing you might notice is that I'm using a lot of Cat 5 cables. So I've got a Cat 5 cable up here that controls the extruder and the filament runout sensor. And I also have the Cat 5 here that controls everything on the effector. So that's the thermistor, the cooling fan, the heat break fan, and the heater itself. It's just enough wires with a really thick, with like a, what's it, 24 or 23 gauge Cat 6A, or just Cat 6, is enough to supply current. That cable does not get warm, nor does the keystones that I have it going into. And that just provides like a really nice cable management, right? It's easy to disconnect. Disconnecting the effector is really straightforward. So yeah. What else do we have here that's interesting? So it's using magnetic linear rails with magnetic effectors. These are Hayden's mag balls and mag arms. Went for the original mag arms from Hayden. And a super nice guy, by the way. And let's see here, what else is interesting about this build? Maybe I'll show you the bottom of the heated plate, the hot. So here you can see how I've got some insulation on the bottom here. It's just some foam insulation, and the actual heated mat is in there. You see it's kind of glued on with red silicon, and there is my temperature, my thermal fuse. It's got some thermal grease on there. Now I've noticed that thermal fuse will pop if I supply this. It'll pop before 135 degrees C if I let the if the MOSFET just fails closed. So it'll pop before it even reaches that temperature because of internal resistance inside. So that's kind of an added safety feature. I marked, so and you can kind of see on these feet, there's like a little detent there. And I went a little overkill on that centerpiece there. That can hold way more weight than is necessary, but it just looked so cool, so I just went ahead and added all of those. And I have the front one marked with an F, so there's no F there. There's the F, just so that I don't forget. Let's see here, what else is going on here? I think that's pretty close to it. It's not a bad printer. It works out pretty well. These I added these up here to kind of help take some of the weight off of the flying extruder, and so they can keep moving fast. The point of these on the side here is just to keep it centered, because otherwise it just kind of moves around a lot. And that seems to work pretty well. There is a thermal fuse on here. It's 300C. I have not tested it though. I really should do that. Let's see here, what else? That's I think that's all the interesting bits here. So I'm using kossel extrusions for the vertices. On my previous printer, I printed my own version of these, but these are so cheap from China that it just doesn't make sense to not use them, and they're super rigid. Using 0.9 degree steppers, except just for the A, B, and C towers. I'm using 1.8 degree steppers on the extruders. yeah, I think that just about covers it. So, oh yeah, and I've got some lights there, and this mess here. This is the my little step down converter to, because this is a 12-volt strip, but I'm running at 14 volts, and so I don't know if you can notice, but some of the LEDs are actually burnt out, and that's because I wasn't running one of these on it. So this drops it down to a voltage that is appropriate for actually running the LEDs. And yeah, so that is Obliteron.